In terms of the humanitarian corridors that we've just heard about today, how hopeful are you that they will work, that Russia will abide by what it has said it will?
I hope it will work. This is pretty vital, literally, at this moment. So I'm happy that at least we've had two opportunities to bring help to people in extremely difficult circumstances and maybe for vulnerable people to get out of those places. Of course, the UN, the Red Cross, we are still in Ukraine, and we will do our best to take advantage of these opportunities. I hope actually there will be more opportunities in other places as well, because it's needed. Now, this is not a ceasefire. This is not which is what we need, the cessation of hostilities, but at least it will help save some lives.
Have you actually got provisions and transport in place to order to make use of these in the next 6 hours?
We've been preparing for that. It depends a lot on what the modalities are. You know, we've done these things in other places before, in Syria, for example. So we know how to do convoys, but we need to have the guarantees respected, as you said. So we will have to see how it moves. The logistical capacity is not the biggest problem. It's the security guarantees that need to be given and maintained.
Well, indeed, you can't put any of your people at risk as well. It will be great that some more people can get out, but of course, there will be those who can't. What about those who are left behind? The fact that these humanitarian corridors have been opened up, does it make their position even more perilous?
Look, we've been doggedly resisting any pressure to get out of Ukraine, we humanitarian organizations, UN, Red Cross, NGOs, because we want to continue to bring assistance where we can. It is a bit more easy in Western Ukraine, which is less hit by the conflict at the moment. It is much more difficult in the eastern part. That's why the humanitarian corridors are good, are useful. But it is true, it is not easy at the moment to bring assistance inside. And this is why we keep seeing people getting out of the country. I understand you're in Poland. I'm here in Moldova. I was at the border yesterday, and this human avalanche, as I have called it, continues and is likely to increase.
And we've seen, obviously, on the border with Moldova, with Romania, here in Poland, there is an enormous humanitarian effort underway. Is that the same on the other side of the border, on the Ukrainian side? Presumably it is a little more challenging for you to get help there, or is that not the case?
It's much more challenging on the other side of the border because we depend on how the conflict moves. And like you said, we cannot go where there is bombardment or insecurity because it would be futile and dangerous. So we have to take opportunities to study almost the map of conflict and insert ourselves in spaces that are safe and bring assistance. We work a lot, international organizations work a lot with local groups, local Ukrainian organizations, because they have more mobility, more information, and more access.
We've seen over 1 million people have already moved from Ukraine. How many do you fear in total we will see moving across borders?
As a matter of fact, I think that by tonight, latest tomorrow, the total number of people that have crossed out of Ukraine will reach 1.5 million. We were yesterday close to 1.3 million. I think Poland yesterday saw in one day alone 100,000 people crossing. So it's going exponentially. And take a place like Moldova, where I'm now, and where I was yesterday, you must know this place called Palanca, this border crossing, is 50 or 60 kilometers from Odessa, one of the largest Ukrainian cities. If Odessa is also hit by the war, it's likely that a great deal of its population will move in its direction. We have a planning figure, and I stress it's a planning figure of total 4 million refugees. When we started, I thought, well, maybe this is, God forbid we reach that figure. It's a lot, but now I'm getting worried that we will.
You think it could be even higher, do you think?
I don't know. It's really anybody's guess at this point. We have to see how the conflict moves in Ukraine. It depends really on that. Yesterday, the people I spoke to, and the other day in Romania, the same, it's very clear. it's when, for example, I saw people from Odessa already moving. I said, why did you move? They said, we waited when the first siren went off, first alarm that there may be bombardment, we moved out. So it's when especially aerial bombardments happen that people get worried and want to get their children out. And as President Zelensky mentioned earlier in his statement, we heard it on your program, it's women, men stay behind. It's women and children mostly crossing. So we are also seeing this huge population, mostly of women and children, and it's a pretty vulnerable population that we need a lot of help.
And that help needs to be sustained for a long period of time, it looks like, doesn't it? Filippo Grandi, the head of the UNHCR, really grateful for your time today. Thank you.
Thank you very much.